Hi, I'm Hannah, and welcome to the Midnight Mugshots. This is my podcast format where it's kind of like you're staying in the cafe past midnight, past the closing hours. I have the Mugcast, which is basically like the official podcast where I do my own writing and I read my own articles. This is also the first time that I'm recording this as a visual segment, so in case you're listening on Spotify, you can switch over to the video version. So I decided I would do this episode to kind of introduce myself, but also at the same time take the Enneagram test. I realized though that a lot of people here in Taiwan care a lot about personality types, especially about zodiacs. I'm also a snake, by the way. So I'm a Chinese zodiac snake. I'm an Aquarius in sun sign, I think. I'm an ENFP according to my MBTI test. And I don't fucking know my blood type, which is the saddest thing. Like when I went to Korea, people would ask me sometimes about my blood type, and I could just not give them an answer, which they found was weird, but it's just like, it's very simple to forget your blood type. It's not really a thing I've ever needed in my life. Like, it's not like I constantly am laying on the street like, I'm dying, please. My blood type is B1. Like, it's just not happening. And also, B1 is not a blood type. But yeah, I guess I've never taken my Enneagram test. And people are talking about the Enneagram more these days. And living in Asia, I think I should know. I think I should know better. So here I am taking this test that will probably take me a lot of time because it's 100 questions. I realize now there is easier ways to introduce yourself. The first question, let's jump right in, is I strive for perfection, inaccurate to accurate. I am not a perfectionist. Nope. I'm the type of girl who's like, done, gone. I make a project, I do something. I do worry, and like I am very much like invested in the project. I love projects, but I would definitely not worry to the extent where I would call myself a perfectionist. I feel like when I get this feeling of I need to get this perfect, that's when I know that my mind is going into like a very toxic type of mode. So no. Second question, I work hard to be helpful to others. Ooh, that's one of those questions where you can either be an asshole or a bitch, or you can be too good. I feel like this is one of those questions where you're gonna fail. Either way, if you pick, I'm very accurate for I want to be helpful for other people, people will think you're pretending. And if you click very inaccurate, you're just being an asshole. In all honesty, even if I weren't like trying to do this on camera right now, I probably picked the middle because I'm aware of how much of a bitch I am. Like, let's be fucking honest here. Third question. It is important to me that other people like me. It's not very important to me that people like me. No, I don't think so. I think, yeah, that's the thing about me. Talking to my friends, like my closest friends, that's where I am the biggest asshole. And that is honestly a really weird fucking flex because that means that if you're one of my very close friends and I treat you like shit, basically. If I treat you like shit, that means I'm being my very best self. That means I'm being very honest because where I come from, like my culture, Austrian culture, if you are honest with somebody, that's valuable. Like that's really good treatment. That means that you trust the other person enough to be able to digest the truth, which is difficult. Like we don't love hearing the truth always, right? So I feel like if you hear the truth from me, which is the moments that I'm being the biggest bitch to you, that's when you matter to me. It is important to me to achieve great things. If I had no goals, who would I be? Whatever great things is, I feel like I'm not a high achiever. I'm a lazy ass person who has big dreams and constantly steps on her own like brakes. I wish I was more high achieving. I'm just being an idiot sometimes. I make more significant contributions than the average person. If you click accurate on this, like, I think the test should come out with just blank, like, asshole. Like, you should just be diagnosed as a narcissist. Seriously? Like, okay, that's a no for me. I feel my emotions very deeply. I feel like I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't feel my own freaking emotions very deeply, okay? Is it always helpful? No. God, fuck, no. I have a sense that other people will never truly understand me. Oh, that's true. Part of the reason I'm sitting here. Because I was thinking about like, how do I do a podcast introduction? How do I like explain what Hug in a Mug is? How do I explain what Hannah's Cafe is? How do I explain medium writing? All that stuff that I do. How do I explain my book? Oh my gosh, the hardest thing is writing a blurb for a book. Like, what the fuck? It's a humongous challenge. And as I was thinking about all these things, I was like, no matter what I do, no one will understand me. I have a sense that other people will never truly understand me. That's 100% accurate. It's actually part of the reason I moved away, because when I lived in Austria, I just constantly felt like people weren't understanding me. Like they didn't value that I loved Asia so much that I tried to learn Japanese and I tried to learn Korean. I did carry a lot of guilt in myself for like feeling like other people around me didn't understand me. And that's part of the reason that I moved away. Biggest reason, actually. I think deeply about things. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, guilty pleasure, guilty pleasure. I really love thinking about things too deeply. That's the reason I write. Like, I'm seriously wondering, like, aren't writers the people who overthink things and yet feel misunderstood? And that's why they focus on the quality of the word so much, because their whole lifetime they were overthinking and then being misunderstood. And so they constantly keep improving their wording. Hot take. That's my hot take of the day. I am prepared for any disaster. Ooh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not prepared for any disasters. Disasters just hit me in the face. And then I go, oh, hi, good morning. How are you? And I just deal with it. I think I'm very good at problem solving. Like at this point in my life, I fucked up royally so many times. Like any sort of numbering system has run out of numbers for how many times I have royally fucked up in my life. And honestly, it's freedom. It's a true freedom. It's very freeing to keep fucking up, because any disaster at this point can hit me and I feel like I can deal with it in one way or another. I have very high abilities of taking care of my own issues, but I don't care about prepping for my disasters, which is naive, but it's okay. It is important to me to avoid pain and suffering at all times. God. I'm a very masochistic person. I'm sorry. I don't avoid pain. Actually, I just wrote about how important it is to not avoid pain, because pain in my life has not only been suffering, but also great growth. Emma Watson, she was on the Jay Shetty podcast, and she said something like, when she gets pained, she feels like that's when the biggest growth spurt is gonna hit, and I totally agree. I seek out experiences that I know will make me feel happy or excited. Why does this one sound like a question for a drug addict? Well, I would hope I'm happy and excited in my daily life. I hope. But why does this sound like a drug type of situation? I don't even drink alcohol a lot. But if I say no to I seek out experiences that make me feel happy, I sound horribly depressed, right? I see the positive in every situation. Yep. That would be me. Because that's part of my problem solving. Even if I'm really in the dunks, I will still see the positive in it. I will be like, okay, take a day off, I guess. If you haven't noticed, I'm really cynical, really deeply cynical and very sarcastic, which sarcasm and cynicism are very deeply embedded in Austrian culture, I think. Like a lot of how we make jokes is basically cynical and sarcastic jokes, but it doesn't always land very well here in Taiwan. People are always like, huh? You fine? This is part of the reason I'm recording this podcast, actually. In this culture, ranting is very hard for me. Very difficult. And even to my best friends, I have a very hard time ranting, because a lot of Asian cultures are not very rant friendly. But ranting is like a love language in Austria. And so I miss ranting to people. I truly miss just bitching about something. And honestly, that is the motivation for this entire podcast, because I miss bitching so much. I'm not afraid to tell someone when I think they are wrong. I think that depends. I'm not an idiot. I won't tell my boss that he's wrong. I still want to get paid. I let other people make the decisions. Like, if it doesn't regard me, let them make their decisions. But if they're making decisions for me, I'm the one making my decisions. I'm a little bit of a toxically independent eldest daughter, specifically. I did recently do a podcast episode about eldest daughters. You can check that out. I appreciate having rules that people are expected to follow. Rules are really not my thing. which makes me an interesting driver. I wouldn't say I'm a bad driver, but I would say I get to my destination miraculously fast. I'm a very efficient driver. Gosh, don't meet me on the streets. No jokes though. I'm very good at driving. I'm just crazy about driving in Taiwan because Taiwanese traffic blows my mind because this is the only reason where what I ticked is wrong. Okay, I put it at like 2 in this case because the way that people have no distinction between a sidewalk and a street drives me nuts. And because of that, like you will walk on the sidewalk and there will be a scooter zooming past and you're like, the fuck, bro? Like they just almost run you over because the parking space is on the sidewalk. So I get the point. Like I get why they're there, right? Oh my Lord. I've had so many near-death experiences on the sidewalk, which is the safe space of the poor pedestrians. Like, please give me a home, give me a place to walk. But yeah, as a bicycle rider specifically, and I've just upgraded, by the way, I just upgraded to becoming an e-bike rider, which makes me faster, but also a little more dangerous. Not to anyone besides me though, because clearly if somebody runs me over, I'm the one who gets injured. I'm concerned about security more than anything else. Clearly based on what I just said. I don't give a shit about my own security, which is concerning, but also helpful. Honestly, it saves me a lot of headaches. I think a lot about what will happen in the future. That's low-key true. I'm a very future-oriented person. Even though, like, I don't care about security, I don't future-proof, I care to envision. Like, I'm a very goal and dream-oriented person. There is rarely a good reason for changing how things are done. Oh no, there's always a good reason to change. If somebody has a reason, there's always good reasons. Which, that might be part of the reason I left Austria. Because in Austria, it feels like there's rarely a good reason for things to change. I feel like good old Europe truly is like lived in the culture. Things just stay the way that they are, which is something I don't always agree with. Some things are correct if they're done the way like that they are expected, but the reason they're expected that way is only because a society or a culture set that standard. And that doesn't mean that it's correct or incorrect. Like having moved abroad into a completely different culture with completely different language and completely different standards and rules to it, I just learned how irrelevant, how fucking useless it is to deem any rule an ultimate thing. If you move abroad, you're going to find that a lot of rules are going to change, and that's great. I also don't support the statement that you're going to find your best country abroad, or like there's these tests online where you can find out the best place for you to live. I don't think that's true. Like having lived in Austria, Taiwan, and Korea, and I also stayed in New York for like not a long time, a month and a half. I had a taste of these different lifestyles, and I can tell you there's always going to be something that you're going to hate, but it's just about how much you are willing to put up with, and you change in the process too. So it's not like you're a solid person and then there's these 4 solid different cultures and you're choosing from this set of cultures. No, all of them are malleable. So I always finish my chores. Nope, never. I can delay my laundry for a long time. I'm always trying to be a better person, 100% accurate, every single freaking day. That's annoying about me. Because I ask a lot of questions. I think I get on my friends' nerves a lot because I ask a lot like, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And it's not because I want to make conversation. A lot of it is because I genuinely want feedback. And that's another difficulty, I think, across cultures is in Austria, if I ask that question, I get genuine feedback. And in Taiwan, sometimes I feel like I get a very like cute version of feedback, like what you should give answer, not the true answer. I'm not saying it's a Taiwan exclusive thing. It does happen to you in Austria too if you're like talking to people who are more like who are not as close to you. But that's a difficulty that I think I face here, is that I'm never quite sure if people are actually saying what they mean. And I wish they were just very upfront and honest with me sometimes. I check carefully for mistakes and errors. More or less. Guess it depends on the task. Not good at finding my own errors. I'm not good at finding other people's errors either. I don't always agree. Again, not ordinary brain here. So I feel like I don't always agree with other people on what is good and bad. There's always an opinion to be had about everything. I like to be around people who I can help. Oh yeah, that's true. I never want to be the cleverest person in the room. Like, I love being an idiot around people. It just liberates me. I love it. But I do love feeling needed, and I love when I'm around people where I know I have a purpose. I often feel overtaken by my emotions. No, I am very fucking tired a lot, but that's a very natural thing that you get when you move abroad. It's called Ulysses syndrome. Look it up. I always have a plan for what I would do if things go wrong. No, I watch shit go down the drain, and then I look myself in the mirror. I'm like, you fucked up again, huh? Didn't you? There's this weird part of me that loves watching myself fuck up, because it means that I get feedback. Like, the environment, the universe is giving me feedback. I love that. I love fucking up. I seek excitement. Again, I seek excitement sounds to me like somebody who's going to buy weed. I do doom scrolling, but also recent best discovery was a dumb phone app where your whole phone is just turned into like basically writing instead of icons. Love that. So I guess I don't seek excitement. Holy shit. I'm good at seeing the bright side of things when others complain. 100% accurate. There are some people around me who are just like filled with complaints, and I'm very good at seeing the bright side of things. I do not hesitate to call people out when they are behaving badly. No, they're not as long as they're not my problem. They can do whatever they want to. Freedom to the people. Oh, what the fuck? I'm not the Statue of Liberty. There's no purpose of me saying this. I'm not even a US citizen, even though it's so funny because living in Taiwan, if you're white and living in Taiwan, basically like everyone thinks you're an American person, especially if you speak like me, which is a trained accent, by the way, completely trained. Like, I completely on purpose trained this accent because my mom's an English teacher who teaches British English. Deep in my bones, I always want to do what my mom did not do. Like, I'm bound to do the opposite of my mom. So I had to have the American accent if she has the British one, right? So people in Taiwan will always think that I'm American. And it goes to the extent where, like, I'm sitting in the tram, like a kid next to me goes, "Look, Mom, it's a foreigner. She's from the US." And then literally as soon as I had the Chinese level to get that across, I would turn to the kid and be like, "Hi, I'm actually not from the US." But it's difficult because I say I'm from Austria. The first thing that happens is either A, they tell me about Mozart, which is great, love that for them, or B, they ask me about kangaroos. I've had this conversation a lot of times, right? And every time it's about Australia and Austria, we always have this conversation. And every time I explain I'm from Austria, right? And as I explain that, a lot of people get it. But then there's this little fraction of people who say, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I got it." And then, I kid you not, 30 seconds later, they're going to say like, "Oh, I've also been to Sydney." And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just said I'm Austrian. There has been this turning point in year 2 of my life abroad where I decided, fuck. Remember, I was in the Philippines and they picked us up with this little scooter thing. And I was with a British guy, and the British guy was like, "Oh, you're from Austria. Yeah, I got it. Sydney, kangaroos." And I was so sick of him. I was like, "You fucking idiot. You know what? I'm not even going to try to explain to you that I'm actually from Austria for the second time. I don't even care." So I didn't explain it to him. And what ended up happening is that we had to ride this mini scooter thing to the hotel, which took an hour. And for an hour straight, I had to pretend that I was Australian. And because he's a British guy, I was like, fuck, he knows Australian accents, right? And then as I was faking an Australian accent, I also had to come up with like random details about Sydney that people who live in Sydney would probably know. God, it was a mess. Ever since then, I've been very careful. People should follow the rules instead of doing what they feel like doing. The reason I'm not going all inaccurate is Taiwanese traffic. Just know that. I seek out relationships that offer me some type of protection. I moved abroad alone. No, why do you think I would need protection? There might have been the one or the other odd one out guy who tried the protection method and they didn't see me a second time. I can clearly visualize what could happen in the future. Oh, I can visualize a lot of things. I have a very vivid fantasy. I'm not sure that's what they're talking about here. I persist until a task is done. No. I let go of it. I reject the task. I go back to it. I hate myself in the meantime. And then maybe I go in a circle of denial where I realize that this project is never going to leave me until I finish it. And so I'm going to go into the emotional depth of that project for sure. Persist here is giving me this aura of like having their shit together, which I clearly don't. One of the statements that I like hate is when people suggest things and they don't follow through. Like, I'm really big on follow through. Doesn't mean that it's a follow through in a timely manner. Like, it might take me years to finish that project, but I will finish. You better fucking believe me, I will finish. Spend time trying to discover and correct my faults and weaknesses. Guess so, yep. Like self-improvement. I don't hate myself that much to do it every single morning. Like, what do I hate about myself? What's my weakness today? No. But I do correct my faults if I can. I hold myself to very high standards. I'm definitely my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst critic, like every good person. But do I hold myself to very high standards? I think so, I do. I think I do. Not that I live up to them, but I certainly have high standards in mind. I'm a natural caretaker. Not a natural caretaker, let's face it. My dad would probably be like, no, because my dad watches me take care of plants, and I'm very good at killing plants. Amazing at that. That's like a side hustle of mine. I want to achieve a lot in my life. Oh, yeah, that's true. I want to achieve a lot. Not today or tomorrow, but like someday. When I'm 85. I don't know. Why did that number come up? I don't know. I'm not a numbers person. If I'm honest, I feel that I'm a bit better than other people. Look, that's another of those questions where I'm like, who says yes to... maybe you're a billionaire if you think that of yourself, actually. Maybe this says more about your bank account than about your personality. I feel a deep sense of grief for what I have lost. Ooh, this is a terribly sad question, because I usually feel like whatever I have done in the past, I can usually recreate. Unless it's like my 6th birthday. Of course, I'm not going to be 6 again, but I can recreate it if I want to. I can tell a bunch of people, watch my 6th birthday, and I can invite them to this weird ass fucking gathering, and they can be like, why? Why? But I would be able to recreate it, right? So I don't think I grieve a lot of things. I take time to understand things more deeply than most people. I would say so. That's the whole reason that I write, is because like recently I've been writing about women in music and how they dress, because a lot of people have recently criticized Olivia Rodrigo's recent video for Drop Dead. And I actually loved that video. And I went so deep into the conversation that I was like, I want to understand what these people are thinking and where they're coming from. So I read a lot of their commentary, and I summarize it all in an article. To have a good discussion means to understand different viewpoints. And that's really important for me, to not just dismiss another person's viewpoint, but to make sure that I look into it really nice and deep. It's important to me to be prepared for any emergency. This question comes up a lot, and I still don't care. I often make changes in my life when things get boring. I don't think that I'm the one changing things when things get boring. I rarely get bored, because usually life fucks itself up. I conveniently don't have to do anything. Life just fucks with itself before I have to get bored. So, no, I don't make changes to my life when things get... It's like a middle. Because I would say it's in the middle because I never get bored. I make plans for many years into the future. I try. Is it going good for me so far? No, but I try. I write my emotions in a lot of depth and detail. Oh, yeah. I'm one of those overthinkers who can describe their emotions amazingly to their therapist, and then the therapist goes, so now that you know why are you here? Like, if you can tell me all of these things first up, why are you here? And I'm like, fix it. And the therapist is like, you're not, like, that's not how it works. Yeah, I've had that. I often feel like an outsider. Yes. Oh, yes. Poor me. Melancholic. I feel like an outsider because I'm literally outside my country. I'm literally an alien resident. What other, like, way of feeling like an outsider is there? I find my mind to be a very interesting place. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My mind is a very interesting place. Not in a good way. My mind is a very, very weird place, which is why I think, like, when I read a fantasy novel, I'm like, oh, that's what that place in my mind looked like already. Like, no surprise when they go to hell. I'm like, oh, I know that place. It's already in my mind. Yeah. Fucked up, I know. I'm always aware of what can go wrong in a situation. Nope. I always find out later, though. I'm always up for a new adventure. Yay! Of course. Unless it's an expensive adventure. Then I check my wallet first. This is the thing about adventures in the Gen Z age. There's adventures that are truly adventures, and then there's the purchasable adventures, which are not actually adventures, but more of like a pre-manufactured thing that you buy and then post on the internet and call it an adventure. Sorry if that didn't make sense to you, but if you've ever done like one of these bungee jumping, like cliff diving, whatever things, and there's like this whole like place that's prepared for you to do these things, it's usually super expensive and people take videos to do it, and it's interesting and cool, but like I just feel like that's not my type of adventure. My type of adventure is renting a scooter in the middle of the Philippines all alone. The red lamp is already glaring at you for like miles and you're still on the scooter. That is an adventure. That's nerve-wracking. That's a lack of safety, but it's a very big adventure. I stand up for what I believe in, even if it's upsetting other people. Yeah, if it's about equality, especially women's equality, like gender equality, I care. I let other people take the lead. I'm very good at becoming like the opposite of the leader. I'm very good at like forming the alternate group, being the like omega person, I think it's called. I'm often looking ahead towards what is coming next. Yep, I do. I can't anticipate it, but I can look. I'll try to peek, but the universe will be like, I don't care. You don't get to look into the future. I have different interests than most people. Yeah, I do. Because I have a lot. My current interest, for instance, current obsession is overtone singing. Google it. It's beautiful. I love overtone singing. That's my current practice between the hours of 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. I'm a responsible and reliable person. Ow. This hurts. This hurt my self-image. I felt the hit. It hurt. I'm a responsible and reliable person. Looking at the camera, looking myself in the eye, being like, no, girl, right? Not, I wish. I'm working on it. It's one of my goals to be more responsible and reliable. But I'm also just me, you know? I don't trust myself enough to take I'm reliable here. Make sure that even small details are correct. No, that would be very perfectionistic. I just want to make sure that I do my best. That's the headline above everything that I do in my life, basically. Do your best. As long as I've done my very best, that's good. I want to be a person that others can look up to. Someday, not right now. Someday, I hope I'm the grandma in the nursing home who tells like the cool stories. I'm going to be the cool grandma, but up until then, yeah, I still have time. Hopefully. I rarely have strong emotions. Yeah. If you click, I rarely have strong emotions, I'm jealous of you. I'm very jealous. I want to learn as much as I can about how the world works. Yes, 100%. I'm very curious. One of my biggest character traits is being curious, and I love researching things. It is important for me to understand what can go wrong in a situation. Why do they keep asking about safety? I don't care about my safety. Didn't you get it? I've already clicked the inaccurate button like 15 times. I don't care about my personal safety. I care about other people's safety. Okay, get it. Oh, goodness. It's making me angry. I have very deep emotions. Anger is one of my core emotions. I love using anger to cover up other things. Trying new things keeps life interesting. True. I'm an upbeat person. I try to be upbeat, but I'm also downbeat sometimes. I love a good downbeat in the music pieces, for instance. I love a good downbeat sometimes in music, but I don't think that's what they're asking about. I'm concerned with protecting what I have. No. I'm the biggest idiot about objects specifically. I lose shit. I lose my shit and I lose shit all the time. So like my phone and me are not friends, and because I just misplace it a million times a day. I'm not concerned with protecting what I have at all. Nothing that I own is a permanent part of my life, honestly. I try new ways of doing things just to see if they will work. Yeah, like this. Like recording myself doing an Enneagram test. I have a great deal of willpower. Yeah, I have a lot of willpower. I don't have, what do you call it? There's a specific word I'm looking for. I'm bilingual again. Determination to carry through on time, but I have a lot of willpower. Self-improvement is a major interest of mine. That's true. I always want to improve myself. Which of the following does your current job provide? Financial compensation, which the fact that they bring up financial compensation here basically means like if you tick that box, you only do it for the money. Loving that they put it there. I'm very happy that they are so honest. Can they use this information against me at some point? What is your age? Oh, I am 25. I'm in my quarter life crisis, guys. Oh my God. I'm in my quarter of my life. Okay, we're calculating the results. Drum rolls, please. Analyzing your core fears. Oh my God, I didn't realize I put my core fears in there. This thing knows more about me than I thought I'd given it. See my results. Okay, literally there's like almost nothing. Like I can't even find my type. Are you kidding? Okay, there's just this pie chart. And it says a lot of the areas are lit up. But I think the largest area is 5, 4, and 7. Okay, I just Googled it. Let's see. The largest area, and they're on par. I think the largest areas are 5 and 4, both of them equally. And then there's a little less 7. So 4 is the individualist. I think I get that. Type 5 is the investigator, and type 7 is the enthusiast. And I think I'm going to leave it at that because there's a lot of explanations, but I don't think you need to know about my core fears, key traits, and coping styles. I think that goes a little bit too far. So yeah, thank you for sticking around until the end. I hope you learned something about me. I hope you learned something about yourself. I hope at the very least you were a little bit entertained by my fuck ups. I hope to do some more episodes soon where I talk about different topics that are not Enneagrams tests and not about myself, but kind of in a similar style because I want the Midnight Mugshots to be the more like open and free type of podcast where I get to talk to the camera the way that I am. I think that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around. Hit like and subscribe and check out my other channels. I have an Instagram and a Threads account that go by hugin.amug. And my largest library of contents is over on Medium, where I write as Hannah's Café or Hug in a Mug. And stay tuned for the 12th of June, because on the 12th of June, I'm coming out with my first book, my first novel, second book, first novel, nonfiction memoir of my time here abroad and all the lessons that I learned assembled into one. So yeah, hope to see you somewhere else very soon. Bye-bye.